Hey everyone, welcome back to the layout once again. Today we have another layout update, which will by and large be a review of some new motive power, and then I also have a couple things for sale, and that'll be about it. So I just a few days ago purchased this MTH ES44AC in the KCS Southern Bell paint scheme. Of course, it's not BNSF, but a little foreign power doesn't hurt, and we see a fair bit of KCS run through power, especially on coal trains in Nebraska, and for the lower level, which is set in Montana, there's quite a bit of evidence of KCS units making it out west on stack trains and grain and oil and all sorts of commodities. So it's not uncommon to see KCS units on the division I'm modeling, and the reason I picked it up primarily is that my dad is a huge fan of the Southern Bell paint scheme, and he had purchased a locomotive a while ago. It was an Athearn SD70 Mac, and I thought that would be a cool locomotive, but after I got to run it, I wasn't a huge fan of it. So I did a bad thing, and I sold it without really telling him, because I had planned on replacing it with something better. Well, I think this is better. It does not have sound, but I really like the detail job and the proportions and molding that MTH did, especially around the cab. And on top of that, it has fantastic lighting just right out of the box. So this will be a fun locomotive to mix into consists, and should be a good locomotive to see both in Nebraska and Montana. Now this isn't really anything of significance because I think I've already shown you this locomotive, but once again I picked up a GP38-2, which with this particular detail package, the low headlight, the AC, the AC units atop the cab, and the Yard or Heritage 4 paint scheme, whatever you want to call it, this locomotive is more or less appropriate for the yard power at Whitefish, and it also performs local duties on the prototype. So I'm not just telling you that I got it. The point is it wasn't running for the longest time because something went weird with the decoder, but I finally got my programming track back up and running, and now this locomotive is roaming the layout. So that was more or less an excuse just to show you some shots of it rolling through the scenes on the lower level. Now, one of the other moves I made recently is I picked up a couple locomotives. You'll see I have an ET44C4 number 3931, and then BNSF 4723, which is the Microsoft train simulator unit. One of these is mine, the other is not. So I actually traded my brand new ET44C4. It was number 3726. It was an angled exhaust version, excuse me. And if you watched the last running video that I posted, about a week ago, that locomotive was featured in there pulling a coal train. So this unit here, number 3931, is from the same release. I think it's run 4 or run 5, whichever release Scale Trains is on. And I traded that unit for this one with my new friend Nick Taylor, and he goes by the name Chili Sub Customs on Instagram, so be sure to check the link in the description below, and I'll try to post a link at the end of the video as well, because he does some great work. So you'll notice that this locomotive is fantastically weathered, but on top of that there's also some cool custom work. He fixed the PTC antenna array on top. He swapped it out for another version because for some reason Scale Trains didn't get the anti-skid markings correct on this unit. So he did that. He sort of beefed up the window gaskets on the front windshields. Did some work. He put a Scale Sound System speaker in it as well, and then did some custom sound work on top of that. So a fantastic locomotive, and I'm really excited to have it. This is by far my favorite locomotive on the layout, and for whatever reason I was just itching to have one of these tier 4s with the square exhaust and this particular antenna arrangement with the 3 big Sinclair antennas leading out front. I don't know why. It seems like a weird nitpicky thing to drool over, but I just like the way these locomotives look, and the weathering just tops it off. Then the trailing unit, BNSF 4723, I mentioned, is the Microsoft Train Simulator unit. This is a custom Scale Trains -9 that he is working on for himself So this is not my locomotive, but he sent it my way anyway, just to pair it up with my new Tier 4 and have it run around the layout. And I think they just look awesome pulling together. So I'm just really pleased to own one of these and to be able to run the other for fun. And again, be sure to check out Nick's work on Instagram because he does some awesome custom modeling. Another locomotive I picked up is this Kato AC4400 in the BNSF Heritage 2 paint scheme. Don't know why I specified that, that's the only way they come. This I actually purchased way back in October, I think, or maybe it was November, but I don't think I actually mentioned it in a layout update, because I don't even remember when the last layout update was. So it's possible I purchased this after the last update. Anyway, this one is, you know, it's your standard model. I think it was renumbered, it could be wrong, I don't think Kato produced this number, and the reason that's significant is that this was actually John Parker's locomotive, and you might recognize the name because John Parker owns and operates the world-renowned BNSF Fall River division. And if you haven't seen his layout, I implore you to go take a look. It really is considered by many to be probably the best private model railroad in the world. Just the expansiveness and the detail is surpassed by none. And if you do take a look, or you know of the layout I'm talking about, you'll probably realize that I've taken a lot of inspiration from his layout. So it's just cool to have a piece of his equipment rolling around on my layout. And I like the idea that a locomotive had a life prior to being here. It gives it more of a realistic feel to me, because on the prototype, locomotives make it system-wide. They don't always hang out on the same tracks. So this locomotive seen quite a bit of service on the Fall River division, and now it'll see even more service on the Plains division. Alright, so I have two locomotives for sale. The links to these sales are down in the description below. These are on eBay, and it is an auction. So bid on these if you're interested, and they could be yours. First up is an Athearn Genesis SD70 ACE. This has quite a bit of custom work done to it. In addition to the weathering, which is immediately obvious, I have also completely replaced the trucks. So the trucks are new as of like a year ago. So it runs much smoother and tracks better than the original trucks it came with. I also replaced all of the original lighting, so it has surface mount LEDs for both headlights as well as the ditch lights, and then I also stripped out the original Tsunami decoder, and it has a Loc Sound Select decoder in it, which in my opinion sounds much better. The second locomotive for sale is a Kato SD70 Mac. This does not have sound, but it does have a Digitrax mobile decoder in it. The main custom work I did on this is the weathering. Once again, you can see that pretty obviously. I didn't replace any of the lights, but what I did do is tint the side cab windows, and then additionally I painted the cab interior to a darker tone, and then on top of the cab interior desktop on both the engineer and conductor side, I tried to simulate loose paperwork. So if you look inside the cab, you'll see there's like pieces of paper and packets and folders and stuff sitting on top of the cab interior desktop, which I think is a cool little effect. So once again, if you are interested in purchasing either of these, go to the links down below in the description of this video, and that'll take you to the eBay page where you can bid on both these locomotives. Well everyone, I think that's about it for this layout update. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time.